Greetings to everyone, and thank you so much for being here today for yet another panel with SAFE, a wonderful discussion that we're going to be having with facilities directors from several of our chapters. We owe a big debt of gratitude to Sean, Jim, Tom, and Ryan for donating their time to be with us today, taking time out of their busy schedules, especially with major storms approaching on the East Coast. We are incredibly grateful. I imagine that your work is not only about fixing things when they break, but preventing them from breaking in the first place, not to mention many other things, preventing problems before they happen. So much of what you do is invisible to most of us. So once again, thank you so much for taking time out to be here. As you may know, SAFE members have long recognized that residential unit turnovers present an opportunity to advance sustainability goals within their communities. In 2023, a volunteer-led SAFE task force published our first SAFE unit turnover guide. It highlights turnovers as a practical time to make energy efficiency and sustainability changes. When residents are unoccupied, it's a good opportunity. If you'd like to download that guide, it's on safe.org, SSAFE.org, under the Path to Zero menu heading. Today's discussion also supports goal number 3 of SAFE's 5-year strategic plan, which is fostering collaboration between residents and community administration. By hearing directly from facilities leaders, we can better understand the opportunities, costs, constraints, and challenges involved in unit turnovers. We hope this conversation helps residents and community leaders learn from one another and identify ways SAFE members can support these efforts ongoing. We have 4 distinct primary questions. They're pre-prepared questions that we sent ahead of time. Please try to keep your answers relatively brief, about 2 minutes. And I understand the first question may go a little bit long. And I am going to go around the Zoom window for me. And Jim, actually, before I get into the questions, Jim, all of you, if you could do this, your name, title, and community, the years you've been working at community, and what is your favorite place in nature? Let's start off with that. So go ahead, Jim, you're first.
Sure. My name is Jim Wolford. I'm the VP of Development here at Roseville Senior Living in Portland, Oregon. I've worked here for just over 4 years. And before that, I was a consultant for Roseville for development for a couple of years. And what was the last question? My favorite place in nature?
What's your favorite place in nature?
Oh gosh. Every year we do a whitewater rafting trip on the Deschutes River. So it's a 4-day, so raft camp along the river.
Oh my
And so
goodness.
I would say probably the Deschutes River, maybe Pacific Ocean. So yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Ryan, you're next. If you could unmute your name, title, how long you've been with your community, and what is your favorite place in nature?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Salskowski. I'm the Director of Facility Services here at Kendall at Oberlin. I've been at our community for 22 years. And my favorite place in nature would probably be a place here in Ohio they call Hocking Hills. We go there every fall. A beautiful place to see all the fall foliage and leaves. So I would say that's probably my favorite place.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, Sean, if you could unmute your name, title, community, how long you've been with the community, and your favorite place in nature.
Yep. So I am Sean Bostic, Director of Facilities here at the Collinton in Bowie, Maryland, Mitchellville, Maryland. I've been here now 4 years, and my favorite place in nature, any woods really. So even I could say either the Collinton trails here. We have a real nice trail system in Beaver Dam, or one of my favorite places here in Maryland is Calvert Cliffs State Park. It's like a 2-mile hike to a private beach. And nobody knows it's back there when you go searching for shark teeth and stuff like that. So I take my kids there a lot.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. And Tom, name, title, how long you've been with your community, and favorite place in nature.
Tom Crossgrove from Kendall at Ithaca in Ithaca, New York. I'm the Capital Projects and Sustainability Director here at Kendall. I've been at Kendall at Ithaca for 30 years at this point since it opened. And my favorite place is really, I'm a very avid outdoorsman, so any place outdoors in nature is my favorite place, be it on the water, be it out in the woods. Just love the outdoors.
Thank you. Oh, couldn't agree with you more. Am I unmuted? I'm unmuted. Okay. So let's go around for the panel questions. Again, about 2 minutes longer. The first one may be a little longer. I'm going to start with Ryan this time. Can you give us a brief overview of your community's approach to turnover renovations, including if there's a written policy and or protocol? Oh, sorry, Ryan, you got muted.
No, I thought I hit on my, okay, am I good now?
You're good. Thank you.
Okay. So we don't, at our community, we don't have a policy or a written procedure. We're pretty unique. We have several different types of turnovers we do. We have, if we go into a independent living cottage that hasn't been updated in quite a while, we could do a full renovation. In the past, that has included installing geothermal and expanding the footprint of the cottages, making them bigger. If a unit hasn't been if a unit's been turned over and it hasn't been too long, we can go in and do simple upgrades. If the other upgrades have been done, then we also have what we call 10-year upgrades. If a resident has lived here for 10 years or a little longer, they qualify for some additional upgrades at that time, like countertops, flooring, those types of things, paint. We'll do that. And then we also have a 2-story apartment building here, so we have apartment turnovers. Same thing, if apartment has not been turned over in a long time, we will go in and do a full big renovation. If it already has been updated, then we will just do what we call like a basic turnover.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Tom, can you give us an overview of your community's approach to turnover renovations, including if there's a written policy or protocol?
We don't really have a written policy at Ithaca. We we are probably very much like Oberlin. We start out, we have kind of a procedure list, checklist that we do. We meet with the marketing folks when the unit is empty.
Okay.
We go into the unit and determine what the scope of work is going to be. If it's a unit we have not turned over and done much in the past, we'll do a full scope, including replacing the boilers, AC units for more efficient ones, windows, doors, things like that. If it's something that we've already done those kind of updates, we're just most likely going to do paint, floors, maybe kitchen cabinetry, that type of thing. So a lot of it depends on how long the previous occupants have been there. We also have cottages as well as apartments. Scope of work pretty much the same in both of them. We have a newer batch of apartments that were built in 2015, so typically they have less of a scope. They were all built to LEED standards, so they were all LEED Platinum when they were built.
Goodness.
All our cottages and apartments were built to Energy Star standards in '95 when they were built.
Nice.
But it can range anything from complete gut, window doors, tub showers, kitchens, boilers, AC units, down to just paint, flooring, depending on the age of the last turnover.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Sean, similarly, can you let us know your community's approach to turnover renovations, including if there's a written policy?
Yep. So ours is fully incorporated. We did create a policy. Myself and my project manager, Sean Pickett. We have what we call, it's the standard operating procedures for sustainability and unit turnover. And we're on version 2.0 now. Well, it covers, so we do a pre-turnover assessment where we go in and look to see what condition the place is in. And then we have certain things that we do. So We're going to incorporate LED lights. Number one, we're going to put can lights in. It's mandatory. That's part of our standard practice now. So we put in those can lights, make sure every appliance is energy efficient, low water flow, faucets. We wrap all pipes. If the pipes, like in our cottages, go through the cement slab, we abandon those, and then we go up and go through the ceiling. We wrap all the pipes, re-insulate all ceilings. We assess the shingles. We'll go with a cool roof, standard shingle. What else? We're changing siding now. I'm starting to put that in there because it's reached its life. So we're going to start going with a hardy plank siding. That's going to help. We check for weatherproofing. So I think, what else do we do?
Probably endless
Yeah,
list.
yeah, it is. It's so if I went through our whole process, so you have the pre-turnover planning, we check all appliances, lighting systems, we check windows, insulation and air sealing, roof shingles, pipe insulation, water conservation fixtures, and all materials and products, low embodied carbon. So all that stuff is it captured during that process. And Sean uses this software called Company Cam, where he goes in and takes pictures of everything, inventories everything, and states what needs to happen, what needs to go. And then we have every Tuesday we have a marketing meeting when we go over that stuff and then make the approvals as need be.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And Jim, similarly, an overview of your approach to turnovers and if there's a written policy or protocol.
Sure. We're a relatively small single-site community, 372 residents. We do about 20 to 25 turnovers a year. Here at Rosevilla, resiliency and sustainability go hand in hand. We developed a resiliency action plan several years ago. I presented to this group in the past about it, and that informed what we call a development guide. So we have a development guide that has a preamble on the front that basically talks through what the process is, like how we go about conducting a turnover. And then the design guide was informed by the resiliency action plan for material selection and what the criteria is for the renovation. So much like my peers on the panel, our renovations vary. So depending on how long it's been since the last renovation and whether or not a renovation has occurred since we developed the development guide or design guide. But we are in the midst of developing a sustainability action plan, and the design guide is a living document. So as new technologies come out, new materials, new appliances, etc., we update it. And I suspect that the development of the sustainability action plan will inform the design guide just like the resiliency action plan did. But like Sean, we basically go through and ensure that we're replacing light fixtures with LED, fixed bulbs and cans. We have a different insulation package or envelope package for homes, depending on when they were constructed or whether or not they've been upgraded already. We ensure that all appliances are Energy Star, low flow fixtures, all the things that you would expect that conform basically to our resiliency or sustainability goals here at Roseville.
Okay.
And another thing, I guess an exciting thing is this is more along resiliency, but one of the challenges we've had in getting residents to adopt or maintain their own emergency supplies in systems. So I'm talking about twin bucket systems for human sanitation and jackeries or some other battery system in the case of a power loss, or aqua bricks to store water. We now package all. We worked with our resiliency group here at residents here at Rosevilla. We developed a list of or a package of emergency supplies, and we basically put that in the homes. And so they're part of the purchase of or the move in, and they're already in the home. So that's how we start to make penetration with our resiliency and sustainability goals throughout the community, is through renovations largely.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much for those overviews. I will have to listen to this again because there's so much that goes into that to get my notes down, who does what. So I'm going to go back around the group again, maybe in reverse order this time. And I'm going to start with Sean. To what extent are turnovers viewed as an opportunity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve energy efficiency? So what does that look like in practice? Maybe a couple of examples if you have any.
Yeah, so it's key for us. One example, like for instance, we had a lot of leaks with hose bibs. We did an initiative to change them all to frost-proof hose bibs. So all those are now changed here on campus.
Mhm.
Um, Windows, we had the old aluminum windows. We did an initiative to take all of those out and change them. And there's some things coming up that we're working on now that need to be done with, like, for example, like I said, with the siding that we know has to take place because we're losing a lot of our cooling and heating, and that's been
Mm.
a big deal. For us, we're in the middle of the woods. We are certified Arboretum, so our carbon probably is a lot better. And then one of the things that's coming up is we're doing Vision 2030 here, which is a big project, and it's going to be challenging to keep down a lot of that dust and carbon during that process. So that's
Mhm.
have to be a focal point. But we take the approach to every unit we turn. We do 36 a year. Each one of those, we pretty much go fully through and make sure everything is up to par and up to standard. And I know in the 4 years I've been here, I think we've done 300 something units total or something like that. So
Wow.
we're getting there.
Good. Wonderful. All right, let's move over to Tom. I'll just repeat, to what extent are turnovers viewed as an opportunity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve energy efficiency?
It's always top of mind for us here. We started several years ago. We did an LED light bulb initiative with all the ILU units. So the sustainability group did a survey. How many lamps does everybody have?
Yeah.
We supplied the bulbs and changed them. So our campus is now almost 100% LED light bulbs with just a few mechanical spaces left to take care of that we're trying to accomplish this year. Um, we've been replacing all of our boilers, removing our hot water heaters so that we have combi units, much higher efficiency,
Hmm.
93% instead of the 87 or whatever the original ones were. We replaced the air conditioners with a higher SEER air conditioner. We've been replacing windows now for a good 10 years with higher efficiency windows. Exterior doors, we do air sealing as we go through the units as well, around all the lights and light penetrations in the ceiling, exterior walls, switches, and so forth. So
Hmm.
something that we keep top of mind when we're doing that type of stuff.
Wonderful. Lots of building envelope considerations I'm hearing from everyone. Okay, Ryan, to what extent are your turnovers viewed as an opportunity to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and improve energy efficiency?
Yeah, similar to Tom and Sean, that's pretty much the critical time that we look at things. If it hasn't been done, updating insulation, heat pumps. Like I said, we do have some geothermal installations, LED light bulbs, Energy Star appliances. We've gone in some units. We've updated to tankless water heaters. Um, those types of things, insulation, as they both said, we go into a unit, assess it, and what hasn't been done, that's usually the time we'll do it. Obviously, if a resident has an appliance that wasn't very efficient and then we're replacing it, we'll do it at that time. But the turnover time is when to go in and do it all if we need to, and that's usually what we do.
Wonderful. And Jim, same question. To what extent do you view turnovers as an opportunity to reduce greenhouse gases and improve energy efficiency?
In our existing homes, it's our primary opportunity. And so where we can really move the needle in our built environment is in new construction and how we do new construction. But for our existing inventory, it's through renovations. And that design guide is really our charter to guide us through that process. And it was focused, it balanced cost, time, and achieving our goals. So that's how we do it.
Wonderful. So I'm going to switch over to a different question. I'm going to start with Ryan. How are turnover renovations funded within your community's capital and operating budgets?
So we're a nonprofit. So our capital budget is funded by entry fees and resident fees, and same with our operating budget. So we have most of our turnovers are all capital, especially the large renovations. Those are all in our capital budget. When we do a resident 10-year upgrade, or some of our upgrades in our care center, those are under our operating budget. But all of the larger ones are capital projects.
Yeah. Okay, Tom, same question. How are they funded?
Basically the same here at Ithaca. It's in our capital budget, funded by entry fees. All of our ILU unit turnovers are capital. If it's a health center room, then it is an operations budget.
Okay. So ILU's independent living unit?
Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Same for Sean. How are turnovers, renovations funded within your community's capital and operating budgets?
Ours is identical to Oberlin. Same thing, entrance fees, pretty much fund those projects. It's in the capital budget. Roughly, we budget to do about 36. So it's around anywhere between typically 4 million a year is what we're looking at in that budget. From anywhere from 95K per renovation up to some are over 150K, just depending on the extent of what needs to be done. And then our operating budget funds our assisted living and memory care units.
Okay, good. Thank you. And Jim, same question about funding.
Really the same kind of answer. So basically, we project what units, how many units are going to turn. We do an average. We have a wide variance in our renovation costs, just like the other communities, and we do an average. It all comes out of our capital budget. Our capital budget is roughly 10% of our operating budget. So for us, it's about 3 million. And we have that's a mix of renovations and then other projects like improvements to amenity space or outdoor space, etc. I stack some of those projects to be executed throughout the year, so third or fourth quarter. If we're off in our projection on turnovers, which sometimes we are, then we basically reprioritize those projects that were prioritized for third or fourth quarter and push them to the next fiscal year and shift that budget over to renovations. And that's how we do it.
Yeah, tricky business there, trying to keep everything on budget. I can understand that completely. Okay, so I'm going to start with Jim. I'm just going to go back around again. What are obstacles your community has encountered when trying to incorporate sustainability measures into the turnover process?
Cost and schedule. So it's a balancing act to drive our built environment to meet our goals, our sustainability and resiliency goals, but to do it in a way that's fiscally prudent and fiscally sustainable. And so that is what we weigh as we look at changes to our renovation guide. And as new product comes in, we meet regularly in regards to, we call it transitions. And those discussions are granular about renovation of particular units and also larger to talk about potential changes to the design guide. And we basically balance cost and schedule versus impact or result.
Good, thank you. Sean, how about you? What are obstacles that your community has encountered when trying to incorporate sustainability?
Our biggest obstacles was just the years of deferred maintenance and bad project management, to be totally honest. Coming in, the biggest obstacle we faced was my first year here. Went to do a unit turn, and it was so much mold in this one unit, which led me to testing the entire campus. So I had the whole campus tested for microbial growth, and we ended up having to do remediation in 180 units. And then between that, bad infrastructure, but plumbing issues, water intrusion issues, and termite damage and squirrel damage, because it's a lot of squirrels here, and we have these abundance of covered walkways where they were entering at and doing a lot of damage within a lot of the homes. So
Oh my goodness.
I was
So,
a little different, wasn't much more. It gets costly, but it was just years of neglect.
okay. Okay, so Tom, what about you? What are the biggest obstacles when trying to incorporate sustainability measures?
Some of the obstacles just come from the original construction and what we're kind of limited to dealing with.
Mm,
We have radiant floor heat in our units. This year I have a project to try some air to water source heat pumps, and in trying to come up with a design and a plan for that with radiant floor heat and our hot water situation, it's been very difficult to come up with a plan, and especially an affordable plan. It's going to be a whole lot more expensive than we intended. So, weighing those costs and just dealing with some of the original layout of construction. This year we were looking at putting solar on our cottages, and just the electric infrastructure that we have to tie the solar into drove that payback from what they originally thought would be like a 4 to 5 year to a 14 year.
mm,
So, weighing that.
yeah. It really gives us insight into how you have to thread that needle when you're trying to make these changes. Thank you. Ryan, similarly, what are obstacles that your community has encountered when trying to make sustainability changes in the turnover process?
I would say about, the same as the other guys are saying, it's, timeline and cost. I'm dealing, like Tom said, our communities are similar and laid out similar. Same thing when you're trying to initiate sustainability measures in an older building or older structures, the way it is, trying to retrofit things. We've learned that when we've done quite a bit of geothermal on the campus. Also, the investment and the payback, as Tom was saying, same with our geothermal, looking into where you have a 50-year payback on a large investment. That's challenging and a hard sell. And just like I said, we run into a lot of the retrofitting and existing conditions, trying to, as these guys know, when you tear into something, then you think you're doing the right thing to tear into something, and then it becomes a larger project than you envisioned, and you're spending more money, as Sean was saying, when you get into stuff. So that's always a challenge too, and we're always having that in the back of our mind is, all right, if we're going to do this, what could possibly happen when we do this? And we try to look at that as well.
Mm, risk assessment. Thank you. Did everyone get a chance to answer that question? I think I went around the entire room. Okay. Thank you so much. This is going to end the prepared question portion of our meeting.